Hello, happy people. Let me get you guys set up over here. So, I am at my friend Todd's house today. I came over last night and started a little bit of stuff, but then time just kind of got away from both of us, and I didn't get everything done. And it was dark anyway, so you wouldn't have been able to see anything if I had decided to film it. And um, so decided to come back today. I have today off work again, so I decided to come back today, and I'm starting seeds. So this morning I actually went out to Atlanta Urban Farms and I picked up seedlings for the tower garden and some seedlings and plant starts that we're actually going to be putting in the ground here once we can get good places prepared for them. Came out yesterday, planted some strawberries that I overwintered. Came from Todd's mom. The plants came from Todd's mom. I had about 48 plants, and it looks like probably half of them did not survive this spring. I thought we were getting enough rain and that they would do fine, so I wasn't watering them. But they were in very small planters, and so I think just the fact that there were a couple of days in between rains. They just weren't getting as much water as they needed. And some of them are, when I was pulling the soil out of the little containers, some of them were actually a little bit root bound. So the ones that are surviving, we're getting in the ground. I've got a couple that are in pots that I'm actually going to get a nice big strawberry pot to put a bunch of them in as well. I don't necessarily want all of them in the ground. I'd like to have some of them in pots as well because they make really pretty decorations especially when they're blooming. But that aside, and I will try to before I end this video, I will try to take you downstairs and show you where our tower garden is and exactly what I'm putting in the tower garden today. So I actually went online a couple of months ago, like February-ish, and ordered a whole bunch of seeds. At that time, they were talking about seed shortages. They were talking about the possibility of companies running out of seeds before you could get what you wanted. So I just went ahead. I went on Baker Creek Heirloom Seed website, and I went on Haas Tools website and got a bunch of seeds. I'm not going to be planting all of the seeds I got. I did get some starts. Honestly, for most of these, I am a little bit late starting seeds. You really ideally want to start your seeds 6 weeks before your first frost. And first frost here in Georgia is typically, I believe, April 15th. Or not first frost, but last frost. I believe is April 15th. We have had snow as late as like April 25th, 26th. And a lot of people that you talk to, a lot of the gardeners, a lot of the old time farmers will tell you not to even plan on putting anything in the ground until Mother's Day. Right, and around in these areas. But at the same time, I really should have started seeds before now. Hopefully, getting them started even this late, I will wind up with a little bit later summer crops. Some of these are going to be very much hot weather plants. These banana peppers, especially peppers, they do take a long time to germinate, but they do absolutely love, love, love hot weather. And I love, love, love banana peppers. So I'm hoping that these will do well for me. And I'm going to show you what I'm planting in. Hang on one second. Let me turn you around here. So I am planting for the possibility that I may be putting most of this into, or some of it anyway, into my tower garden. So right now what I have is I have little rock wool cubes, and I have them in paper egg cartons. And in hindsight, I actually probably should have put them in the styrofoam egg cartons, and I probably will be doing that over the next week because I I don't know why, but I just kind of didn't realize exactly how much water the paper was going to absorb. I have a feeling they're going to dry out very, very quickly and have to be watered quite a bit. And they're not holding the water either. I mean, it's just kind of one of those duh moments that I went through. But at any rate, there are 36 cells in the tower garden. I did get 20 plant starts, 20 seedlings today from Atlanta Urban Farms. Not all of those are going to remain in the tower garden, and not all of these seeds that I start today are going to go in the tower garden. The great thing about the tower garden is that you can, or the rock wool anyway, planting in rock wool, starting seeds in rock wool, you can actually, the really awesome thing is that you can actually put them in the ground. Rock wool is very environmentally friendly, and it goes very easily into soil if you need to put them in soil. So as I'm planting these, as I'm starting these seeds, and I've already started a couple of cells with basil, but as I'm starting these, I'm writing down, I'm doing a little chart. So I'm going to do a chart based on how they're laid out here on the table. So I've got Justin, I got basil seeds from Justin from the Justin Rhodes Show. And so I put Justin's basil in the first two cells, and so I labeled it Justin's basil. It's sweet Genovese basil, which I may or may not remember. We'll see how that goes. That I remember what type it is, but I'm sure, I mean, Genovese basil, sweet basil, tastes different than a lot of the other basils. There's so many varieties of basil out. And I actually bought, I believe, I either have seeds for, or I bought seedlings of a purple basil, which is really, really nice. I like to combine the two, especially when I dry them. I like to dry the two together in the oven, and then just crumble them and put them in mason jars and keep them in the kitchen cabinet. And it's just absolutely wonderful to use in cooking throughout the year once you get all of that dried. So I'm writing down, so the next 4 cells I went ahead and did banana peppers. So I'm going to write banana peppers. In the next 4 slots. And this is just so that as they grow up, I'm going to remember, before they start producing, I will actually remember what they are. Because I'm trying to remember how to spell banana. So P-E-P-P-E-R. It's hard to talk and write at the same time. Any of you guys have that problem? So banana, B-N-A, pepper. As they're young plants, peppers look quite different from basil usually. And basil looks quite different from tomatoes. And tomatoes look quite different from cucumbers. But you never know. I may forget exactly what varieties I planted, which is fine. I may, because I'm not really actually writing down any varieties yet. But I just want to have some way of knowing and remembering exactly what it is that I've planted. So like I said, I got a lot of these. I did get a slow bolt cilantro. I am one of those people, most people are in one of two camps. You either love cilantro or you hate cilantro. And my dad actually always used to say, you either love cilantro and hate parsley, or you love parsley and you hate cilantro. That's not the case, because I love parsley and I love cilantro. So, so I did get slow bolt cilantro, because here in the South, and I don't know exactly what zone I'm in. I'm in the zone that gets really, really hot in the summer and doesn't get really, really cold in the winter. So whatever zone I'm in, we tend to lose our cilantro tends to bolt really, really easily in the heat of the summer. Cilantro doesn't actually like heat. Cilantro does much, much, much better in cooler weather like this. Right now, today, I think we're in the upper 70s. And cilantro does much, much better in those types of temperatures. So I did get slow bolt cilantro so that I can have cilantro long enough, hopefully, that I'll be able to harvest it and dry it. Cilantro dried, it's really not great. But the other thing that I can do too, the one great thing that I love about these rock wool, if I do keep this one in particular, the cilantro, in the tower, then I can actually take that out of the tower, put it in a pot, and put it on the kitchen counter. If I need a grow light over it, I can just get a grow light from Home Depot or Walmart or Lowe's and just put a grow light over it. If I want to put it into another type of hydroponic, aquaponic system, I can do that. If I want to put it in the ground somewhere where there's shade and ample airflow, I can do that. That's the one great thing about these rock wool cubes is there's so many awesome applications. I have taken things from my tower garden and put them in the ground or in pots. I have taken things from pots and rinsed off the roots and put them in the tower garden. So some really great applications for that. So let me quickly show you some of the other things that I am going to be starting. Again, like I said, it's a little late to be starting any of this, but you know what? It's one of those things that I always say, everybody, all the people that I watch, it's just kind of it's the just plant mindset. It's just plant whenever, wherever, however you can. If you fail, it's no big deal. You know, most packets of seeds are $2-3 for 50 to 100 seeds. So hopefully that's not like tremendously detrimental to your wallet. Hopefully it's not something that you won't be able to recoup at some point in time, and won't be just really devastating to your wallet. But it, you know, like I said, for me, for this, if I'm not successful, more than likely at least half will probably work out. Again, if not, oh well. You know, at least I tried. At least I tried, and at least next year I'll know, no matter what's going on, no matter what's going on, I'm going to be planting. I will say last year I got seed starts or plant starts from Atlanta Urban Farms last year, and it was right at the time that we were moving. I did not realize just how hot our back deck got, our back patio. And when we first moved in, I just put them in the tray. And within 2 days, everything was dead. Everything was completely gone. They just burned up because it was full sun, pretty much, you know, like 9 hours, 10 hours of sun a day. So yeah, so that I actually spent more money on because their seedlings, they're $2.50 a piece for one plant. So that hurt. But with these seeds, I'm hoping that it'll be a little bit easier. It won't hurt quite so much if I lose some. So I am going to grow some jalapenos. I personally am not a huge fan of jalapenos, and Todd doesn't like peppers. But I do know people who do like peppers and do like jalapenos. So this is one of those things that I'll probably do 2 or 3, maybe 4 plants of if they come up, and I'll just give them away. I'll just give them away, or if people actually want to pay for them, I'll charge $1 or $2 for a little bushel or whatever, however many they produce. I do sometimes like to cook with these, as long as they're seeded and the ribs are taken out. I do sometimes like to cook with jalapenos. Most of you probably don't know, Todd and I used to date years ago, and anytime I cooked for him, if I cooked anything with peppers in it, he would always pick the peppers out. So I usually try, if I cook at his house. I try not to cook with peppers, but and I try not to order food with peppers, but I don't mind peppers in my food. I don't like the heat of most jalapenos, but these actually, I grew these a year or two ago, and these actually are fairly mild. They're really not too bad. And if you let them get big enough, the bigger a jalapeno gets, typically the milder it is. So there's a little tip for you on that as well. So I'm actually going to um, get to planting here because I'm already running in about 15 minutes. So I just wanted to kind of show you a few other things. I've got some, I don't think this is everything I'm planting. I do have some marigolds. Marigolds are fantastic for helping to keep pests away. And from what I understand, what I learned today is they're actually really good for keeping rabbits away from your strawberries. So I will be planting a lot of marigolds. I do love marigolds. I'll be planting a lot of marigolds. My marigolds last year in my tower garden, because I had a tank heater in my tower garden, my marigolds lasted through December or through November into December when we got our first like really hard. Actually, I think they lasted until we got a snow. And I saved the seeds of the ones that survived that long so that I would have those to resow this year. I am going to be doing some sweet peppers as well. I do like sweet peppers. This one is Carnival Blend. So my assumption is that they produce all different colors. I have not had this one actually produce peppers for me in the past. So if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, great. We'll see what comes out of it. And then I've got some evergreen bunching onions. These do really, really well in the tower. I love those. I actually, oftentimes when I get onions from the grocery store, I will just cut the bottoms off. You know, they always come with the little tiny short little roots on the bottom. I will actually cut those bottoms off, just stick them in the tower, and they'll grow. And then you can cut the top off and they'll continue to grow. So that's one way to get multiple harvests out of one or two little onions or little onion seeds. I am also going to be doing spinach. I absolutely love spinach. Don't tell anybody. I'm one of those people. I absolutely love spinach. I try to have spinach available all year long. It's more of a cool weather crop. It does well in the tower, though. If I put it on the back side of the tower where it's going to not get like a lot of sun and not a lot of heat, keep it kind of away from the house, though, a little bit so it doesn't get heat off the house. And then because unless I have a tank heater in the tower garden, which I only do in the winter, the water that runs over the roots is actually really cool. So this being a cool weather crop will actually do really well. I did get some mini bell peppers. We're going to try those. I'm not a huge fan of bell peppers. I do like them in some things, but we'll see how those do. And I have tried these many times and never had any success with these. These are called Mexican sour gherkins, or they are also known as cucamelons because they look like tiny little, they're cucumbers, but they look like tiny little watermelons. They're about the size of maybe a quarter, probably a little bit bigger than that. Mine have never produced, but from what I understand, they are fantastic. They're great for pickling. They're great for snacking. So I'm going to try those again this year. I always have butter crunch lettuce in my tower. I did buy some starts, but I'm going to start some from seed as well because, my opinion, you can never have enough lettuce. Even the lettuces and stuff that we don't wind up eating will wind up going down to the chickens and the ducks. So don't ever, if you have animals, if you have neighbors with animals, anything like that, don't ever throw away your old produce unless it's moldy or slimy. The ducks and the chickens will eat it, and it's great. I mean, it's a great way to kind of recycle the products from your garden. I'm going to try stevia. I have grown stevia in the past, and I do like growing stevia. I like drying it and using it in cooking, baking. I would never be able to produce enough stevia to bake with. to to completely replace the sugars in foods, but this is a really good good plant to have around. I will be doing a greens mix. I will be doing Swiss chard, which I always have Swiss chard, and I did buy some starts for that. And then I have a baby leaf lettuce mix, and I think I'm actually going to do this in my microgreens section. And just with the microgreens, they come up, you clip them, you eat them mixed in with salads or whatever, and they keep producing. So you don't let them get much more than, about an inch and a half long before you go ahead and just cut the tops off and then let them regrow. So that is it. I'm going to go ahead and get these all in their little cells and get everything written down. And then I will take you down and show you the tower. Be right back. Alrighty then, just to give you guys a quick glimpse of what the finished product looks like. This is my chart. As you can see, it's kind of laid out as the planters are laid out. And I will try to keep them in that order. Even if I put them in different planters, I'll try to keep them in that order until I'm absolutely certain I know what each plant is, and no longer need them to be labeled, or until I get plant labels for them. But that's the chart for them. It got a little bit wet, so I'm going to take it home and I'm going to probably rewrite it or type it up on the computer. And then this is what they all look like once they're in. This substance is, I don't remember exactly what's in it. I think there's a little bit of vermiculite in it. There's some other things in it. It's specifically to help keep the seeds covered until they germinate, and then they just pop right up through. It's almost like covering your seeds with a little bit of topsoil when you plant them in soil, or when you plant them in blocks, or even in the ground. It's like just covering them with a little bit of topsoil. So that is done for today, and I'm going to go downstairs and put the other plants in the tower garden, and I'll show you that in just a second.